Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about what kind of release that I'm using. As a lot of you guys know, I struggled with target panic for years and years and years. And the only way I could ever get over my target panic was to switch to a back tension release. So I ended up switching to a back tension release, ended up shooting to a Carter Colby release, and loved the release. It cured my target panic for the most part. Still got bad form, but it cured my target panic. And I loved the release, shot it for a couple years, just was not real friendly in the tree stand because it was I can't remember what kind of release it was, but it was back tension and you had to set it every time, and it took me 2 hands to set it. So I had to set it with both hands while I was in the tree stand, and a lot of times as I was holding my bow back, if I didn't keep tension on it, it would actually release, or if I moved my hand wrong, it would release and I'd have to reset it again. So it wasn't real user friendly for hunting, but it was great for shooting targets. So now I've switched to 2 different releases. I shoot 2 different releases just depending on the bows I shoot, because I shoot so many different bows in testing. I have 2 different releases that I shoot, but I like both of them and I can shoot either one of them equally well. The one that you see me primarily use is this one right here, and this is an older model Carter. They don't make this one anymore. Now they use the Squeeze Me. But this is actually the back strap, and this release is going to have to be rebuilt or replaced here pretty soon. Probably going to be rebuilt because I like it so much. And the way this one works is when you strap it on, and this is the reason why I have to have 2, it has several different springs that go in here. This is actually a tension activated release instead of a back tension release. Yes, it is a back tension release. Yes, it is a tension release, but it does not quite operate the same as your typical back tension releases. The way this one works is your trigger is set. When I push this trigger in and I pull this back, this trigger will not fire. It will not fire as long as I have the release, the button activated. So when I pull this back, I actually hold the trigger down, and when I get back here, I take my finger off of it, and as I pull through, it pops that hook free and it actually goes through. I can sit there and I can go like this all day long. And if I don't have the tension set correctly, I can yank and yank and yank and yank, and it will not go off. So that's the way this thing works, and you put different springs in it for different poundage. So it still works on back tension, but it's a lot more user friendly when it comes to hunting, because it's still a wrist strap release, which I like for hunting, and it's still kind of feels and works like a trigger release, but it still gives me the benefit of shooting with my back tension. So that's the reason I use the back strap for hunting. Now the reason I have another release is because I shoot so many different bows, and every different bow, depending on the poundage, I shoot them almost all at 70 pounds. But if I shoot a speed bow and then I go to shoot a target bow, I'm gonna have to set this release up completely different. A lot of the bows that I shoot, like if I shoot a PSE DNA and then I go to a Bowtech Prodigy, they're going to be pretty similar and they're going to be almost identical. But if I go from a PSE DNA or something like that to, say, a New Breed Cyborg, which is more a target bow, then I'm going to have to reset this up every time, and so I don't want to have to do that. So that's the reason why I don't use this all the time. It's the reason I have another release. And the other release that I use is a Wayland's Hooker. This is a back tension release, and you can see up here it has an actual hook on this thing. The way this thing works is when I pull the bow back, and they have different models on this one. This one's just the one I picked up off Archery Talk, and I like it real well. When I pull the bow back, I actually keep my thumb wrapped around this peg right here, and it keeps this thing from being able to rotate. So I keep my thumb wrapped around this thing as I draw back, and it keeps this thing from being able to rotate. When I get back to full draw, I actually can take my thumb off of it, and it allows me to use my back tension. And as I use my back tension, my hand comes back, and that release rotates, and that hook actually just slips right off of the D-loop, and it fires my bow. So this one is a little bit more of a pure back tension versus this one right here. And it's a lot more user friendly when it comes to hunting, because I can keep it in my jacket pocket or whatever, and then when it comes time to hunt, all I gotta do is hook the thing on there, and I can sit there like this, and I can actually draw the bow back. I don't have to reset no hinge or anything like that. That's what the Carter Colby was, is a hinge release. I don't have to reset a hinge. I don't have to use 2 hands to do it. You adjust the tension on this with a set screw. It's got a set screw right here, and it adjusts the angle of that hook. So if I want to add a little bit more to it, or a little less to it, then I just adjust that angle to it. And the nice thing about this one is I don't have to do this one specifically for any bow. This one I can actually use any bow out there and I can shoot this bow with it. But what I've done is I've primarily used this one for my target bow. I've actually got a New Breed Cyborg set up right now for 3D, and I got this one set up and I got it really fine-tuned for that specific bow. So that's why you don't see me shooting this one a whole lot. When you see me shooting 3D, I'll probably have this one on me. And I use it in some of the speed tests that I can't use my Carter back strap on. If I get this one set up out there and it's going off on me real quick, or I can't get it to go off, then I'll switch over to this Wayland's hooker. And so those are the two releases that I use. And again, the one I use 90% of the time is this back strap right here, and I love it because it still feels like a hunting release. It still feels like a trigger release, but it works a little bit differently. It still allows me to shoot back tension. It still allows me to get over my target panic. If I go back to something with a regular trigger on it, man, I go right back to my old issues of target panic. So this is a lot more user friendly than most of the back tension releases out there. And like I said, this one's not being made anymore, but there's a lot of them out there that are similar in design to this. This is not really a back tension release or a hinge release, or like this hooker, which is a I don't even know what the name of this one is. They call it a pin release or something like that. This one is actually a tension release. So they make a new one called the Squeeze Me. I haven't used it. I can't vouch for it as being good or bad or anything like that, but I like Carter, and other than this hooker, this Wayland's hooker, Carter is the only release that I've shot for the past 10 years probably. So definitely recommend this backstrap, and this Wayland hooker is a great release too. I mean, it says a lot for me to shoot this Wayland hooker and to endorse this Wayland hooker, considering that I've been so steadfast about shooting Carter for the last 10-15 years. So this Wayland hooker is definitely a good release too. So those are the releases that I shoot, and those are the reason why I shoot them, because I have the back tension release, because I want to shoot back tension, and this one allows me to do that. Still be user friendly for hunting. So for more product reviews, how-to videos, you can check out our website, ikesoutdoors.com, and to check out our hunting videos, you can check out our other website, which is huntwithike.com. Appreciate you guys watching.